What we're doing out here today is asking Mayor Bloomberg to stop blocking the arbitration award. I don't understand how that man who can say he can't afford anything, because he can afford everything.
We've been out here for 50 years earning what we've gotten. If it takes another 50 to stand here and defend it, that's exactly what we're going to do.
American Airlines is just the latest example of a chain of corporate attacks against our workers.
We're not new to challenges, and we're going to fight through these challenges.
We're in Washington, D.C., a union station. We're handing out flyers for the Save Our Ride campaign.
The country was collapsing.
Service cuts, layoffs, and fare increases all across the country.
Ridership in mass transit was significantly rising.
The transit companies had funding for capital, but they didn't have funding for operations.
At a time when transit agencies are seeing a demand for more ridership, they're laying off operators. The Transport Workers Union and the Amalgamated Transit Union
and Jesse Jackson
came together for a joint effort and partnership.
Our goal is to fix this crisis through unified actions in cities across the country.
New York, San Francisco,
Detroit,
Miami, Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia,
Cleveland, Houston, Sacramento.
To build the political willpower to fund transit properly.
Here in Miami, transit riders saw their services reduced on 60 different routes.
Give the transit authorities the ability to flex some of the capital grants in these times of need for operating purposes.
When track workers and train operators from Brooklyn stand side by side with bus operators from Cleveland, that's transit worker unity.
To a degree, we won this. There are some changes that were being made, and there was some back down of the services that were being cut. I think it was a very, very successful campaign.
Just prior to the last convention, we concluded a nearly 8-year battle for a contract for our members on Amtrak. High-speed rail major work program was really an important success, which we achieved in mid-year 2011.
It comes in here as a complete decommissioned train set. The engines are cut off. The cars are brought in. We jack one car at a time, take the parts out, take the trucks out. All the air brakes are taken off. Some of them are done here, some of them are done Beech Grove, and then the engines are hooked back together and taken to Wilmington where they will be overhauled. 56 days is a quick turnaround for a train set.
They have the opportunity now to show that they can do that work when they're doing just that.
We represent the tour guys at Gray Line, uptown and downtown, hop on and hop off tours. We represent the ticket agents. The company proposed that they were going to do away with all tour guides. With the growing competition in this city for tours, it seems like you have an advantage having a person give the tour. We were able to point out to the company the mistake they were making by trying to go totally automated. They could not deliver what they were actually advertising.
I don't think the fact of dealing with people will ever be replaced by a machine.
The union was very good at pointing out the positive aspects of having a person rather than a machine.
Right now we're at the South Gate on Kennedy Space Center.
Picketing both NASA and G4S, the company that represents the firefighters on the KSC side.
We stand by for rocket launches in case there was a mishap or they have anything else that they need us on the structure platforms for.
We're actually the only fire department that I know of that is actually responsible for rockets, ships, structural and aircraft.
November of last year, NASA froze our pension and the new company isn't replacing it.
They have pointed fingers at the company points the fingers at NASA. Nobody will own up to it, and it's our intent to send a very important pointed message to both NASA and G4S to leave the things that we've earned alone.
We're in front of the Nevada Supreme Court. We have the TWU Local 721 Dealers Union. We have our international brothers from all different locals in the United States, and we're here picketing tip stealing from Steve Wynn and his corporation.
It's very difficult to win against these casinos. They threw everything at us, union-busting law firms, videos, intimidation.
Taking away tips is really an impact on all of America, especially in the low-wage areas. We're getting minimum wage and allow the corporations to take part of those tips. That's their money. It's not the house's money.
We managed to have some wins in the lower court. Let's hope that they uphold the lower court decision.
In the post 9/11 era, we began to pay very close attention to what passengers were able to bring on board aircraft.
TSA has come to believe that because we haven't had another situation with knives on the planes, that it's a non-issue anymore.
Their argument was it would make it more efficient for the lines to go quicker because we wouldn't have to confiscate all these knives.
The entire airline community, passengers and employees, rose up against this issue.
We had protests and demonstrations.
We took out ads in newspapers.
We had a press conference on Capitol Hill.
We actually put up a billboard in Times Square. We got some legislation sponsored through some good worker-friendly senators and congressmen.
After taking heat from airlines, lawmakers, labor unions, and police officers, TSA backed off its proposal.
We won that, and it was the collective effort that caused the change.
After 81 years of flying, American Airlines landed in bankruptcy court, 7th largest bankruptcy in U.S. history.
American Airlines workers have taken to the streets in front of the bankruptcy court in New York City.
The last 5 years, American Airlines has exercised over $300 million in bonuses, while telling us, out of the other sides of their mouths, we don't have anything to give.
45,000 American Airlines TWU members under attack by a company with $4.5 billion in the bank, and they're telling the courts they're friggin' broke.
American now has 18 months to reorganize under the Chapter 11 process.
It's a devastating process. The bankruptcy laws are not protecting the employees.
American Airlines this morning is trying to save more than $1 billion by cutting 13,000 jobs. Unions say they will fight it.
We were able to mitigate some of the job losses. We were able to keep the majority of our work in-house on the overhaul maintenance.
We have a lot of dedicated people at American Eagle that were being impacted by the same bankruptcy process.
We all decided to gather together to get a package together to try to help the employees, places where they can go get insurance, job skills.
One thing we put in was Me Too clauses. 4.8% equity of the total amount that was going to unsecured creditors is now coming back to our members.
I've worked at American Airlines for 25 years.
Been here for 23 years.
27 years.
I worked with American for 39 years.
A lot of good people, a lot of real good people here.
You will hear the grim statistics of the raw numbers of assaulted New York City transit workers, more than 5 a week in 2011, and in the first 3 months of this year, 67.
In 2010, when New York City Transit did a massive reduction in service, we were getting an alarming rate of assaults.
A lot of people in a lot of major cities are very upset with their transit systems. The operator is a sitting duck for all that venom and all that frustration and all that anger.
My incident happened at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. He came from the rear of the bus. He didn't say anything. He went to literally grab my crotch.
When a worker's injured or assaulted, we would go to the scene of the hospital and see to the needs of that operator. We also then contact the district attorney.
Since September of 2007, 23 cases have been presented to a Kings County grand jury. 19 have been charged as felonies by the grand jury.
They gave him 6 to 12 months.
We do not prosecute to the extent that we should.
We should have that same type of conduct done with us as you do to the police and the fire and the EMS. Transit Authority has started installing partitions in the buses. From 2010 till now, they've only installed 877 partitions.
Cameras on bus help after the fact to hopefully pinpoint who that person may be and then go after them.
He took 2 steps back into the doorway and spit on me. And that's when the physical assault started. He had broken 3 ribs. He broke my nose in 2 different places. He had beat me actually unconscious onto the sidewalk. He was sentenced to state time, 1 to 10 years. He may have beat me up, but he wasn't going to beat me. He wasn't going to take something from me and my family. I had to go back to work, and I went right back on the same line.